has long been considered to be a portal to heaven. It is said that when the patriarch Jacob rested one night, he placed stones on the ground, and there he saw a ladder ascending to heaven. This was always known to have been a vortex, a portal.
Jerusalem's Eastern Gate, also called the Golden Gate, has been sealed for almost 500 years. This gate is tied closely to ancient prophecies about the return of Jesus, and reports now indicate that this old gate is moving, causing both scholars and Christians to speculate desperately. Could this be a sign of the Messiah's return, the realization of Ezekiel's vision? Is the eagerly anticipated moment finally here? Join us as we examine the Golden Gate's historical significance, prophetic impact, and contemporary events to determine whether its movement indicates Jesus Christ's return. The ancient moving gates. For almost 500 years, the Eastern Gate of Jerusalem has stood closed and untouched. It faces the Mount of Olives and hasn't opened for centuries, no matter what happened around it. But now, strange reports are starting to spread. People are saying this sealed gate may be moving. After all this time, could it really be starting to shift? To most people, it's just an old wall. But to many Jews and Christians, this gate means much more. It's connected to ancient prophecies. Jewish tradition says the Messiah will one day come through it. Christians believe Jesus will return and enter Jerusalem through this same gate. That's why it was sealed in the first place, to try to stop prophecy. But now, some are noticing cracks, loose stones, and slight changes in its shape. But it doesn't end here. Witnesses at the Eastern Gate of Jerusalem have reported strange and stirring experiences that blur the line between natural and supernatural. A local rabbi claimed to hear trumpet-like echoes from beneath the ground while praying at the base of the Temple Mount. Others, near the Mount of Olives, said they saw the gate's ancient stones shift slightly, as though moved by an invisible force. Some felt vibrations in the ground, as if the earth itself were trembling in anticipation of something yet to come. Adding to the sense of mystery, photographs have emerged showing symmetrical cracks in the gate's mortar, subtle enough not to raise structural concerns, but striking to believers. A viral video showed doves circling the gate at sunrise, with a soft glow appearing to rise from the sealed entrance. Many connected the moment with Psalm 24, verse 7, and interpreted it as a sign of prophetic awakening. Some worshippers even reported catching whiffs of incense-like fragrances in the air, though no physical source could be found, further deepening the sense that something sacred is unfolding. Engineers say it's probably natural, caused by time, weather, or small earthquakes. But others believe it could be something more, a spiritual sign. If the gate was sealed to stop the Messiah and now it's starting to move, maybe it's a warning that no human effort can stop God's plan. It has now become clear that this isn't just about old stone, but it is about a promise that can't be broken. Maybe the gate is reacting to something bigger than all of us, something holy. If the stones could talk, what would they be saying? Maybe they're echoing the voice of Jesus, who once rode into Jerusalem while the crowds cheered, but the city itself didn't understand who he really was. Could the gate somehow sense he's coming back? Maybe it's the first to respond before the rest of the world realizes it. Bit by bit, the silence is being broken, and the message is clear. Get ready. All of this is tied to a prophecy, and we will understand the significance of this movement better when we take a look at it. Keep watching to find out. The prophecy and mystery about the gates. Unlike the other city gates, this one holds deep religious and prophetic meaning for both Jews and Christians. While all the gates around Jerusalem serve military or practical purposes, the Eastern Gate is seen as sacred, a doorway to divine visitation. Its location alone places it at the center of many prophecies concerning the coming of the Messiah. The gate was sealed shut around 1541 AD by Suleiman the Magnificent, the ruler of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans had control over Jerusalem during this period, and Suleiman ordered the sealing of the eastern gate with large stones. According to historians, this move was partly political, but also rooted in religious superstition. There was a widely known Jewish belief that the Messiah would enter Jerusalem through this gate. To block that prophecy, Suleiman had it sealed and even built a Muslim cemetery in front of it, believing this would stop a Jewish priestly figure from entering, since Jewish priests are not supposed to walk through cemeteries. The eastern gate was not destroyed, only sealed, suggesting a fear or respect for the prophecy it represented. Suleiman's decision shows that even non-Jewish, non-Christian leaders recognized the spiritual power this gate symbolized. By sealing it, the Ottoman Empire tried to prevent any fulfillment of messianic prophecy. Ironically, this action only drew more attention to the gate's importance, turning it into a physical sign of resistance against divine prophecy. In Jewish tradition, the Eastern Gate is directly connected to the arrival of the Messiah, often referred to as the Anointed One. According to Ezekiel chapter 44, verses 1-3, the gate is to remain shut because the Lord, the God of Israel, has entered through it. The passage says the gate will remain closed and reserved only for the prince. Jewish scholars have long interpreted this as a sign that God's presence has entered the gate once and will return through it when the Messiah comes. In this sense, the sealing of the gate is a fulfillment of this prophecy, not its denial. For Christians, the Eastern Gate holds another layer of meaning. Many believe that Jesus entered Jerusalem through this gate during his triumphal entry on Palm Sunday, fulfilling the prophecy in Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9.
Jesus' journey into the city of Jerusalem begins on Palm Sunday. Chapter 19 of the Gospel of Luke tells us that as people were waving palm fronds and singing Hosanna, Jesus approaches the city on the path leading down from the Mount of Olives.
Christians also believe Jesus will return in the second coming and once again enter through the Eastern Gate, as described in Zechariah chapter 14, verse 4, and Revelation. In Christian eschatology, the gate is not just a blocked entrance, it is a symbol of expectation. That it remains sealed adds to the mystery and suspense of Jesus' return.
Walking up into the temple with your family, knowing that you were going to meet with God, it was the closest place to God's presence on earth.
Interestingly, the sealing of the gate may be part of a divine plan. Just as Jesus' first coming fulfilled many prophecies in unexpected ways, his second coming may be marked by miraculous signs, including the opening of this very gate. Some believe that no man will open it. It will open supernaturally, possibly during a dramatic moment in human history. This possibility adds tension to modern events. Any change to the gate, even a crack or tremor, gets global attention, especially among those watching for signs of the end times. As time passes and rumors of its movement spread, the question remains: is the sealed gate still waiting, or is it beginning to stir? Historical details of this gate give us an answer to this. Let's take a look. The history of the gate. The Golden Gate is situated in the northern third of the eastern wall of the Temple Mount. The visible section of the eastern wall today was constructed in at least 4 major phases. During the reign of Hezekiah, the time of Zerubbabel, the Hasmonean era, and most prominently under Herod. The existing Golden Gate is believed to rest atop the ruins of an earlier gate. An arch, likely from this older gate, lies directly beneath the currently sealed entrance. The first-century historian Josephus refers to an Eastern Gate in Antiquities of the Jews, describing it as part of the far northeastern boundary of the inner sacred court. The Mishnah also references a former causeway extending eastward from the Temple Mount across the Kidron Valley to the Mount of Olives. Rabbi Eliezer disagreed, claiming it was not a causeway, but a structure of marble pillars with cedar planks, used by the high priest and his entourage for ritual purposes involving the red heifer or scapegoat on Yom Kippur. This gate, known as the Shushan Gate, was not for general public use. The precise construction date of the current Golden Gate is unknown due to a ban on archaeological investigations by Muslim authorities.
It's sealed, as you can tell. There have been many stories and traditions associated with it. One that's important is that the gate was sealed and the cemetery, a Muslim cemetery, placed here in order to prevent the Jewish Messiah, who would be coming, according to prophecy, through this gate.
Most 19th and early 20th century scholars, such as Robinson, Conder, Vincent, Abel, and Creswell, believed it dated before the Islamic era. More recent research by scholars such as Hamilton, Sharon, Bendov, Safrir, and Wilkinson supports a 7th to 8th century date during the Umayyad period. Today, scholarly opinion is divided between a late Byzantine and early Umayyad origin. Some suggest the current structure was built around 520 AD under Emperor Justinian I, while others argue it was constructed in the late 7th century by Byzantine craftsmen employed by the Umayyads. Archaeologist Leon Rittmeyer, who explored the site in the 1970s, concluded that two large monolithic gate posts inside the current gate belonged to a much older structure, likely the Shushan gate mentioned in Mishnah Midat 1 verse 3, dating back to the First Temple period. Maimonides also described the approach through this eastern gate during the Second Temple era, noting a level walkway followed by a 12-step ascent to the Court of Women. Historically, the Golden Gate was sealed by Muslim authorities in 810, reopened briefly by Crusaders in 1102, and walled up again by Saladin in 1187. Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent rebuilt the surrounding city walls and resealed the gate in 1541, where it has remained closed since. While this may have been for defensive reasons, Jewish tradition holds that the Messiah will enter Jerusalem through this gate. Some Islamic interpretations suggest Suleiman sealed it to prevent the arrival of a false Messiah or Antichrist.
The Muslims also believe that Jesus is a great prophet. They also believe that he's coming back. And when he returns, they also fear that he's going to come back up onto the Temple Mount, which is behind this wall. That's the Temple Mount platform up there. So what did they do? They sealed up the gate.
A cemetery was also established in front of the gate to deter the prophet Elijah, a descendant of Aaron, and therefore a priest, from entering, as priests are traditionally restricted from cemeteries. However, halakhic rulings allow Kohanim to enter such areas under certain conditions. During the Ottoman period, the gate's inner vestibule was used for burning bricks for Temple Mount renovations. A mosque was later built nearby for the workers, but was demolished in the 19th century by order of the Sultan to make way for further restoration. A new wall and arches were constructed on the gate's western side. Today, the gatehouse, measuring 24 by 17 meters externally, is divided into two equal sections by a central row of columns. Beneath the current floor lies the top of an ancient arch, its base still buried, indicating the original ground level was significantly lower. In 2003, Israeli authorities sealed access to the gate from the Temple Mount after discovering ties between the site's managers and Hamas. They also aimed to prevent illegal renovations that allegedly damaged Jewish antiquities. Though the gate remained sealed in February 2019, the interior was reopened for Muslim worshippers. The outer gate, however, remains closed. Consequences of the gate's movement. Various accounts that the sealed gate of Jerusalem have moved, whether slightly shifted, sunken, or destabilized, raise serious concerns about the structural integrity of the centuries-old gate and the historical wall that houses it. Although prophetic, such a movement would not only signify a potential threat to one of Jerusalem's most spiritually symbolic sites, but also highlight the fragility of ancient architecture that has endured centuries of change, conflict, and climate exposure. While no official consensus confirms this movement, any such shift invites close examination into how the gate was built and what forces might cause it to move after nearly 500 years of being sealed. The Golden Gate, as it stands today, was likely built in the 6th or 7th century during the Byzantine or early Islamic period, though tradition ties it back to earlier periods, possibly even the Second Temple era. Its current form consists of two large archways set in a massive stone wall made from heavy limestone blocks. The gate was sealed by the Ottomans in the 16th century using large stone blocks, and the surrounding area, especially the base, has been subjected to centuries of natural wear. The structure was built to be strong and immovable, but even ancient stone is vulnerable to geological shifts and foundational weakness over time. Several factors could contribute to the movement. One of the most likely causes would be subsurface instability, particularly in the Kidron Valley area, which is rich in underground tombs and catacombs. Erosion, shifting soil, and even minor seismic activity could gradually disturb the foundation. At this point, it gets even more interesting. Additionally, the pressure of centuries-old burial structures, some built just in front of the gate, could create uneven support beneath it. If water infiltration, especially during rainy seasons, seeps into cracks or voids below the gate, it can compromise the structural base and create a slow tilt or sink. Another key factor could be human interference, whether through nearby excavation, construction, or unauthorized digging. Jerusalem is a city under constant archaeological scrutiny, and the proximity of the gate to the Temple Mount makes it a high-sensitivity area. Excavations, even if done responsibly, can unintentionally destabilize structures if the underground terrain is disrupted. Unauthorized digs or construction, which occasionally surface in the old city, could hasten the erosion of soil or expose the base of the wall to air, moisture, and collapse risks. The potential consequences of movement are significant. Any noticeable structural shift could lead to cracks in the stone, partial collapse, or compromise the surrounding wall itself. If the gate were to destabilize further, it could pose a danger to pilgrims and tourists nearby, and any attempt to reinforce or restore it would be politically and religiously sensitive. Such efforts would require cooperation from multiple religious and governmental bodies, an often complex and delicate process in Jerusalem. What could be lost in the event of substantial damage is not just the stone and mortar, but a symbolic focal point for three major world religions. The gate, while physically closed, is spiritually open in many traditions. It is a marker of messianic hope, divine entry, and eschatological fulfillment. If it were to collapse or require major intervention, it would affect not only physical heritage, but also the emotional and theological landscape tied to the gate's presence and appearance. For many, its current untouched state holds prophetic weight. Moreover, damage to the sealed gate could set off a chain reaction of historical and archaeological loss. The surrounding wall, the Muslim cemetery, and the Kidron Valley tombs form an integrated heritage site. A shift in the gate could threaten nearby structures, many of which are not well documented or preserved. The topography of the eastern wall is tightly packed with centuries of history, and a destabilized gate could become a weak point, leading to broader collapse if not addressed quickly. Whether the gate has truly moved or not, its age, construction, and symbolic weight make it one of the most sensitive and potentially volatile heritage sites in the world. Pilgrimage to this site is common today, and the details will blow your mind. Pilgrimage to the gate. Visiting the sealed gate of Jerusalem nowadays is a spiritually symbolic and pleasantly unforgettable experience. Though the gate itself remains closed, thousands of pilgrims each year make their way to the area to gaze upon it and reflect on its historical and prophetic significance. Pilgrims come from across the world, particularly Christians and Jews, each carrying unique expectations and emotional weight as they approach the eastern wall of the old city where the gate is embedded. To reach the gate today, most pilgrims approach from the Mount of Olives, which offers a panoramic view of the Temple Mount and the old city. From this elevated spot, the Golden Gate is seen as fully closed, ancient, and surrounded by centuries of stone and silence. The view from here is often the first real encounter pilgrims have with the gate, and many linger in prayer or reflection before attempting to get closer. A walk down from the Mount of Olives leads through the Kidron Valley, a place rich with burial tombs and sacred memories. Pilgrims walk past Jewish and Muslim cemeteries, a route that itself feels like stepping through layers of history. The path is steep and sometimes uneven, but it offers a meditative space for pilgrims to prepare their hearts before arriving at the foot of the wall that holds the sealed gate. Once at the base of the wall, pilgrims find that the gate is inaccessible up close due to fencing and the Muslim cemetery that lies directly before it. The immediate area is quiet and sparse, often patrolled by Israeli police or security forces, given the sensitive nature of the old city. Visitors are not allowed to approach the gate directly, but many find space nearby to pray, contemplate, or simply look up in silence at the old, blocked archways. The gate itself, when seen from the outside, is made of heavy, pale stone and features two symmetrical arches that have been walled shut for centuries. It is not ornate, but carries the weight of time in its very structure, weather-worn and solemn. The surroundings are often unkempt, with patches of grass, rubble, and the proximity of tombstones giving the scene a sense of stillness and finality. Pilgrims often photograph it from the eastern slope, capturing its mysterious and closed appearance as part of their spiritual journey. The journey is nevertheless very significant, even though one cannot enter the gate. The sensation is powerful because of the expectation, the obstacle, and the notion of the promise about Christ's coming that is yet to be fulfilled. More than just pictures, pilgrims take with them the feeling of anticipation, of being in front of something timeless, and of being a part of a greater narrative that is beyond reach and sight. Today, the goal of the journey to the sealed gate is to stand in front of a threshold rather than cross it. Despite coming to an end in front of a wall, the pilgrim experiences a silent awakening of faith, hope, and the feeling of connection to something divine. What are your thoughts on this movement? Do you think the end is near, or it's just a natural occurrence? Let us know in the comment section. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Remember to like, share it, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.